Yo, ActRaiser, check it. Yeah, I got nothing for this one. Church here, and welcome to the Game Grinder. Today we'll be reviewing ActRaiser. ActRaiser was developed by Quintet and published by Enix. Quintet was a solid studio back in the day, also creating Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, Robotrek, and Terranigma to name a few games. Enix, now known as Square Enix, was the juggernaut behind the series Dragon Quest, and now the Final Fantasy series with the merger of the two companies. ActRaiser was released in 1990 for the Super Nintendo. ActRaiser is a bit more unique than many games, but not original in taking on two vastly different gameplay styles. The first style, and the time most spent playing, is its God Game sections. This mode is based around a vastly more basic form of a life and city building simulation style, where a power is in charge of developing and growing a populace of some sort. The second style is a mostly straightforward platforming action-adventure game. Much like I mentioned in my review of Metroid 2, it's very beneficial to have access to the game manuals for added story information. The events before those of the game are explained in the booklet and tells us about the Master. In ActRaiser, go figure, we play as the Master, a deity who maintained the world in a state of balance, but fell into chaos when the evil one, Tanzra, and his minions assaulted the lands, and took their battles to the doors of the Sky Palace. The Master fought against the attack, but was defeated and escaped to the Sky Palace to recover and fell into a deep sleep. In his absence, Tanzra divided the lands into 6 parts, sent his lieutenants to control each area, and corrupted the people in the process. Hundreds of years had passed, and those who remained resilient to the blight only had statues as evidence that some sort of greater good had once been present. Within the Sky Palace, the Master now recovered begins to stir, and an angel comes in service and wishes to help restore the world to a better state. After choosing our name, the angel informs us of the current state of affairs, and informs us that to save the world, the spirit of the people must be rekindled and the monsters must be destroyed. We then begin at the Sky Palace control screen, where the angel awaits to perform our command. From the palace, we can choose a variety of actions like moving the palace, observing the people, initiating action sequences, switching spells, and options such as message speed, stats of the Master and the various lands, and game progress saving. Accessing the different locations of the world requires moving the Sky Palace from one place to another, which will then switch to an overhead view of the lands, and we may move the palace to various areas. To access each location, an initial threat must be removed, and here we switch into the action mode and take control of a stone statue as our avatar. Our avatar has a life bar, a spell counter, and a score counter. The score seems to be pretty arbitrary for the most part. Controls are pretty basic with an attack and a jump button. We can also duck, and as I mentioned, cast spells. Each level we visit will be host to a variety of fodder enemies, pits, and traps. The goal of each initial level requires us to navigate through the terrain and locate a guardian or boss-type enemy. There are a variety of area types, from forests, a desert, frozen lands, and a tropical island, and enemies sometimes reflect these environmental changes. Gameplay during the platforming is very tight and responsive, and mistakes are usually our fault. Overall, it's pretty basic, and there's a good chance you'll die a lot, especially in the later stages, but it only takes 1 or 2 goes at a certain boss or area to figure out the patterns and easily then get by. We get a few lives to give us some chances, but after those lives are gone, it's game over. But with game saves, we pretty much just can start whatever level over again. There's a pretty good variety of boss encounters, and most of them appear to be inspired by relative cultures to the geographical locations. The bosses are not too challenging, but as I said, you may die a couple times figuring out the patterns needed to win. Spells can be a huge help, and some even seem particularly overpowered and can take out a boss with a handful of casts. Spells are found during the God Sim sections, and can be switched at the Sky Palace. Eventually we may have a magical fire spell that throws fireballs in either direction of the avatar, the magical stardust that rains shooting stars hitting enemies all over the screen, a magical aura which is a force field type attack, and the magical light that emits powerful columns of light from the Sky Palace hitting enemies to either side of us. After clearing out the monsters and the Guardian, we then have access to the simulation mode for the specific area and switch to an overhead view. With people finally free of the monster's control, we are initially greeted by the Angel, who will inform us that we may instruct him to rid the lands of the attacking monsters. Basically, we defend the people, and build roads while under the attack of respawning monsters. The Angel may fly wherever on the map, and has a little bow that will kill most enemies in a few hits. If the Angel takes too many hits, we may not fire arrows for a short amount of time. Despite defeating the enemy Guardians, there still seems to be a monster presence, and here is a decent variety of enemies from the Napper Bats, who carry people away, blue dragons that destroy homes, and red demons that destroy crops. I never had a problem with the bats. The dragons destroy homes that can be rebuilt, but the damage the stupid red demons do seems to be irreversible, and prevents additional city growth. Additionally, we may instruct the people which direction to build roads, which they will build houses along, growing the population, and eventually they learn to build bridges and crops. As the population grows, we will also grow in power, gaining additional hit points. In the different areas, we may use various weather controls to manipulate the environment, like lightning to destroy trees, rain to restore from desert, sun to dry up marshes, and even earthquakes to force land masses together. The main goal is to have the people build roads to the respawning enemy locations, where they will then seal the lairs. As more of the lands are explored by the people, they will find unique artifacts and request to give us an offering, such as spells, crops, technology, and even buffs for the Angel to make use of. Every area will have some sort of side quest that will restrict any additional growth until completed, like saving a person, or delivering music to increase happiness, or medicinal herbs to cure a plague. After clearing out all the enemy layers, we will then be informed of another evil presence, which will then unlock the area's final action mode level per land. These areas are multi-leveled, and finish with a larger, more challenging boss fight with one of Tanzra's many lieutenants. After rescuing all the areas and defeating all the lieutenants, an island will appear that is the fortress of Tanzra, and then begins the oh-so-cliche endurance boss battles that so many games make use of as a final battle. Without the right spell, and getting enough spellcast upgrades, I could imagine this would be pretty tough. I had a couple restarts, but was able to battle my way to the final battle with Tanzra, which was pretty easy all things considered, and of course he has 2 forms. After vanquishing the Master's nemesis, the Angel will congratulate our dedication and hard work. We'll then revisit all the places we saved, and the Angel will remind us how we helped and the sacrifices of some of the people made for the greater good. We learn now that the people are free, and they slowly stop visiting the temples, and eventually will forget about the Master, and the Angel poses a rhetorical question before we leave the world behind to continue its future years in peace. Being the first game from Quintet, this really sets the stage for the rest of their releases, and they deserve the credit they are given. The action mode levels were a lot of fun, and I thought the graphical choice was pretty cool. The avatar looked and fought like a badass too. I don't think the controls could have been done any better either. The simulation mode was pretty unique. It didn't take a ton of time to complete each area. Towards the end of the game, I did feel it got a little bit tedious, but that's the nature of the beast. I really enjoyed the game's soundtrack, especially in the action mode levels, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear the simulation theme music, which I immediately recognized since another fantastic YouTube series, Extra History by the Extra Credits crew, used a cover of it. I can now respect their show's opening theme even more now. I've always heard good things about ActRaiser, but never had a chance to play it before this, and I'm pretty happy I finally got around to it. Though the 2 styles of gameplay weren't entirely complicated, they were solid, and I thought the combination of the 2 styles set it apart and really made it its own thing. I would have liked more of the platforming levels, but there was enough to keep me entertained. I definitely recommend this game if you enjoy platformers and wouldn't mind spending a good portion of the game doing the simple simulation mode between the short action levels. Thanks for checking out my review of ActRaiser. What were your thoughts on the game? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked what you've seen or heard, please give the video a like, a share, and subscribe to see future videos. I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well, and I post a lot of other great game-related content there, and the links are in the description. Until next time on the Game Grinder.